Hi, my name is Craig Follett, and I'm the Senior School Improvement Lead at the Rosa Multi-Academy Trust. As a trust, we absolutely prioritise attendance. We recognise how vital attendance is for each and every one of our young people. We know that if a child's in school, we can support them, we can safeguard them. We also know the impact that attendance has on a young person's outcomes. Therefore, what we've done as a trust is we made attendance a prevalent part of our trust improvement plan, but also each and every one of our schools has attendance as a key element within their school improvement plans. What does our strategy look like? Our strategy is all about raising the profile of attendance. So we raise the profile of attendance, we communicate about attendance regularly, we make sure that our students feel a sense of belonging in school. We believe that if a student feels that they belong in a school and part of that school community, there'll be a strong chance that their attendance will start to improve. So how have we raised the profile of attendance? We've raised the profile of attendance in a number of ways. Through communication, through information and newsletters, through posters around the school, through regular assemblies, through our social media. But I think most importantly, what we've really tried to do is to make sure that everybody understands that attendance is everyone's responsibility. Attendance is everybody's responsibility across the whole school and all stakeholders within it. What we've tried to do is try to educate people, not just in the way that if you turn up to school regularly, this will be the impact on your outcomes, because I think people have done that for quite a long period of time. What we've really tried to do with attendance is get people to recognise that actually by being in school, we can support with their child's mental well-being. We also know that when a child's in school, they develop bigger and wider friendship groups. But also, when we look back on school, each and every one of us can look back on school experiences, those things that we remember, those events that happen to have taken place within school. And actually, our friends and our peers and friendships, they talk about these events and they talk about these things, not just for the next couple of days, but often for years to come. And by being in school, there is much less chance of you missing out on those events. And actually, that does make a difference to children and their parents. The other bit we've tried to do with parents is try to get them to recognise that if a child is regularly not in school, actually, if they had a close friendship group or a close friend and they're often not in school, then those friends need to look elsewhere, otherwise they'll be on their own in school. So actually, by being in school, it increases that sense of inclusion as well, which I think is really important. Our attendance plan centres around the child. We really want to get to know each and every one of our young people. What is it that is their barrier to attending? You know, if they're regularly not coming in on certain days or certain pockets of time, what is it that's stopping them from walking through those school doors? But also, when they are coming in regularly, what is it that's motivating them so that we can really get to know them, so we can put the right appropriate support in place. And we include the parents in these conversations so that actually the parent feels that sense of belonging for the school as well. We try to find out what makes those students tick. What is it? What extracurricular clubs could they be interested in? Again, lots of the research shows if a child's part of an extracurricular club, then that sense of belonging increases and they're more likely to be in school on those days. As with all schools, underpinning all of a good attendance strategy is a really tight plan. So our plan, of course, has percentage thresholds. We have letters that go out at certain points. We have certain thresholds which leads to meetings. We have first day phone calls when students aren't in. But what we try to do with each of these things within those systems and routines is include the parents, make sure we're communicating, make sure there's dialogue, make sure that student is included, again, so that we are supporting as much as we can. We want a child to come to school because they feel a sense of belonging and want to be in school, as opposed to the threat of being fined. And I think that's really important. The profile of attendance is raised even further. Our head teachers each chair a high impact attendance meeting every single week. And within that high impact attendance meeting, we include the attendance leads, the heads of year, support staff who work on attendance. And we sit down and the heads lead a meeting where they go through each and every single child whose attendance is a concern. They talk about where they're up to in terms of our system, but also what is it that's this child's barrier? What do we know about this child? What are we doing to support them? So again, we're raising the profile of attendance, but we're also raising the profile of attendance and raising the profile of that child so that as a collective group of people, we can really support, move forward. And also what this does is it stops any child slipping through the net. And if we've got some staff absence, for example, actually, this meeting ensure that nothing is dropped by the wayside. As a trust, every single Friday morning, I chair a meeting with our head teachers, and our head teachers present their attendance data, again, raising that profile of attendance across all those schools, at that really high level. And our head teachers not only share their attendance data, they share the attendance data of their disadvantaged students. They talk through if their attendance is moving in the right direction or the wrong direction. They talk about what strategies are working, which ones aren't working. They talk about any other ideas that they've had. So actually, we're always sharing that best practice to do everything we can to support all of our young people across the whole trust, as opposed to in silos in each of our schools. What have we learned? We've learned that when a child feels that they belong in a school, there is a much greater chance of them coming in. And actually, we can look back on through a child's sort of attendance and go, actually, it was at this point, at this point in February, where all of a sudden their attendance started to improve. What happened around that time? Actually, quite often, that's when they found that club that they really liked. They built that really positive relationship with a certain member of staff. Their parents all of a sudden became on board. So again, that sense of belonging is probably the biggest difference that we've seen when we finally sort of made that breakthrough with that young person. We see their attendance improve. I think beyond that, we've also noticed that, like most things in life, it's habitual. The minute a child is in the habit of coming to school, actually, we will see their attendance continually improve. Once they're in that habit, we've usually sort of got them, and they're exactly where we want, and then we can just monitor and check and sort of maintain those strategies. Also, with everything we've tried to do, we've got a big focus on our trust around disadvantaged students, like most schools do, and that moral obligation of closing that gap. Attendance for our disadvantaged students has up to this point always been lower than our other students. So this sense of belonging, the extracurricular work, again, all of those things that are quite often spoken about in strategies to support our disadvantaged students. Again, we're killing two birds with one stone, and that our disadvantaged students' attendance is starting to improve, and then we expect to see their outcomes improve because their attendance has got better as well. So the whole strategy sort of encompasses it all in one, really, which is making a massive, massive difference for our trust, certainly.